Today I'm going to show you every single tool we travel with to make repairs on the road, the supplies and consumables needed for those repairs and maintenance while you're traveling, plus a few spare parts to stock that you're not going to find at the campground store. I'm also going to show you where I keep all this stuff. It's not important if you don't have, for example, a toolbox in your truck bed. The locations will probably be different for everyone, but the focus is going to be on the list. All the different things to stay a step ahead on the road. I want to cover the tools and supplies I keep in the tow vehicle first. If it's something I can use on the truck, it's in the truck. Starting in the toolbox, in this passenger side compartment, I keep a claw hammer and a rubber mallet. I use these a lot to stake things like our dog fence or our ground mat. Great to remove a stubborn brake drum. I just store some bungee cords and zip ties, and I'd like to give you some advice based on personal experience with zip ties. Don't waste your time with anything less than 12 inches. They can always be cut. The longer ones are usually thicker and stronger, and there will be plenty of times where having a longer zip tie makes it easier to weave and push into tight areas. There's also this red floating tray that I keep 4 ratchet straps for anything we may need to strap down in the truck bed. I use these a lot for our electric bikes. I keep a rechargeable magnetic work light here on top, and this one is important. This black bag has my tire changing sockets for both the RV and the truck. In fact, everything I need to change a tire is right here in one area. I want to be able to get the tire changed and get off the side of the road as quick as possible. The red box down in the corner contains triangle hazard reflectors. Very important in my opinion if you're on the side of a busy road and you think you're going to be there for a while. A big red 10-ton bottle jack along with an axle cradle adapter. I'd definitely recommend one of these if you lift on the end of the axle. Also a pair of jack stands to just help out with stability once I get the tires off the ground. If you're taking notes, you don't have to. I'm going to put links to everything that's in this video down below in the video description. And I'll also add a downloadable inventory checklist so you can print it out or put it on your phone if you want to start building your own list. I also have a trailer aid, which is basically a tire ramp that you pull the good tire on and it lifts the bad tire off the ground so it can be changed. The good thing about these is they make changing a tire a little bit quicker and a little bit safer. The bad thing is they don't work on every single RV. It depends on a couple things, the height of the RV suspension, how far apart the axles are. This ramp worked on our last RV. I haven't tried it yet on this trailer, something I should probably do here pretty soon. I have the tire minder compressor kit in here as well. In this kit is a tire pressure gauge, all the chucks and hoses I'll need to fill a tire, and I also just store an old-fashioned hand pump for the smaller things like e-bike or e-scooter tires. Of course, 2 of the most important tools every RVer needs is a breaker bar and a torque wrench. An impact driver is just something I personally don't carry with us. I prefer to do everything by hand, but definitely something worth noting for this video. Okay, the DeWalt bag has a bunch of smaller tools. Let me show you what I keep in here. Channel locks, pliers, and needle nose pliers, a painter scraper. This works great for removing old sealant when it's time to reseal. 2 adjustable wrenches, very important to have 2 for propane fitting repairs on the road. Wire strippers, a good multimeter, Allen keys, both metric and standard, a tape measure, 3 panel removers, and I also keep a bag with a bunch of spare screws, bolts, nuts, and washers. Also in the DeWalt bag is another bag that contains 2 short screwdrivers, a razor knife, some extra razors, a bit driver with multiple Phillips, flat, and Robertson bits. I pieced these screwdriver parts together because I've been collecting tools since I was 15, but if I were setting up a friend, I would just tell them to get the DeWalt screwdriver bit set, so I'm just going to link to that below. Moving over to the left, I store my jumper cables in a plastic bin. You don't need a bin. I just find it easier to move these around without banging the clamps into the side of the truck. An extension cord for any number of reasons I may need power. Also important if you have a diesel truck and you need to heat the block. I also carry this DeWalt ratchet and socket set, which comes with a nice case that's similar to what you'll see if you get that screwdriver set. Last in the toolbox is a sealed black bin because I keep all my maintenance fluids in here. Boeshield T9 aerosol. This is my preferred lubricant and rust preventative spray. It can literally be used all over the RV. Boeshield rust free and a scuff pad. PB Blaster, white lithium grease, dielectric grease, CRC electronics cleaner to keep my terminals clean. Shop Solve, which is an awesome non-chlorinated solvent, amazing at cleaning grease and prepping surfaces that need to be resealed. Foaming window cleaner, my tub of all-purpose moly grease that I use on my hitch ball, and of course a box of rubber gloves to apply the grease. I haven't purchased bearing kits for the new Venture yet, but when I do, they're going to go in this bin as well. Last in this bin is a bag of different kinds of tapes, white Teflon for plumbing, yellow Teflon for gas fittings, duct tape, electric tape, and I also stock painter's tape because my caulking and resealing jobs look terrible without it. The last item in the toolbox is this bin organizer. I store standard ATC fuses you're going to see in many RVs, assorted heat shrink butt connectors and Wago connectors in case I need to make a wiring repair, also micro fuses and micro cartridges specific to this truck. And while we're talking about specific fuses, it's worth taking an inventory of all the different fuses in your truck and your RV early on so you know you have the right ones. And everyone's inventory is going to be different, so please get down in the comments, let us know what you carry that's not in this video so everyone watching this video has as much information as possible. Okay, before we move over to the RV, there's a few things I want to show you that I keep inside the truck. With so many things being rechargeable these days, in my dash I have an assortment of USB cables, USB to Lightning for the old iPhones, along with a seatbelt cutter and a flashlight. In the center console, I pack my safety vest so I can put it on before I step out into traffic. I also leave the lock nut wrench for my TPMS sensors in here. Normally, I'd keep this in the air compressor bag in the toolbox, but if I'm at a gas station, it's just easier to grab it from the center console. I have a pair of mechanics gloves that I keep in the door, a first aid kit in the passenger side floor storage, and I always keep a blanket in the back seat. I prefer to store things inside the truck cab where I can access them without having to get out of the truck. For the areas I have to access from the outside, I prefer to keep them on the passenger side of the truck. If I have to pull over, I'm most likely on the right side of the road, away from traffic. Okay, let's move over to the RV. Just like keeping truck-specific tools in the truck, I try to keep most of the RV-specific stuff in the RV. There's more to why I do that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. In regards to my pass-through storage and my bedroom slide storage, most of this stuff is campsite setup supplies, water filters, a ground mat, gravity chairs. Not really what we're talking about in this video, but there are a few things that I want to show you in here that could make or break a trip. So, for example, this is my drill. Everybody's got a drill. That's not really what I want to show you. What I want to show you is this driver on my drill. It's a 3/4 inch socket and it's a common size for component overrides. If you have electric stabilizers and they stop working, the manual override is usually 3/4 inch. If you have manual overrides for rack and pinion slide outs, you guessed it, 5/8. Just kidding, 3/4 inch. Now, a 3/4 inch socket on a drill on low speed will work, but many manufacturers recommend low speed, low torque on overrides. If you bought your RV new, you most likely got a hand crank like this one. The point here is if you have manual overrides on your RV, know what sizes they are, get the appropriate tools on board in case you have electrical issues. Also in here, more rubber gloves, not just for connecting sewer hoses, but if you have to turn wrenches or apply grease to something on the road, you can take these off and throw them away. Sure, you can just wash your hands, but I think grease over time is probably not the best thing for your RV plumbing or your tanks because grease and water don't mix. Wearing rubber gloves and not having to wash your hands is also less water you have to use if your only source of water is from the fresh tank. For the last 5 years, I've been able to keep all of our videos free for everyone to watch. I refuse to charge a membership fee on this channel, and I want to keep it that way. Without sponsors, there are no videos, so I hope you'll stick around for a short message from today's video sponsor. RV Snap Pads are a one-time installation, permanent solution for fifth wheels and motorhome landing gear, and travel trailer stabilizers and tongue jacks. They provide more surface area, which means better stability and less sinkage on soft ground. Made from recycled tire rubber, they grip better on uneven surfaces, and they won't gouge or rust stain your campsite or driveway. Stack pad blocks and other accessories are also now available. Use our link below and get 10% off your entire order. I always have pliers and channel locks in with my setup equipment to tighten the cable or satellite coax, or if water hoses just want to get stubborn. If you have a 50 amp RV, get a 50 to 30 amp dog bone. If you have a 30 amp RV, get a 30 to 50 amp dog bone. Plenty of things can go wrong from the time that you booked your 50 amp site till the time you actually arrive. If you're stopping at some random campground at night to rest, they might not have a site available with your power service. There's a few situations where having a dog bone's going to come in handy, and having a little power is better than none. If you use the pressurized city water connection on your RV, you need a water pressure regulator, period. Most of you already know this. I'm not going to spend any more time on this tool today, but I think it's worth mentioning in this type of video. Moving to the stuff on the inside of the RV when it comes to Attwood or or Dometic tanked water heaters, there is a part called a thermal cutoff. You might hear it called a thermal fuse. Unlike a traditional fuse that blows when too much current is drawn on the circuit, a thermal cutoff will blow when a specific temperature around the fuse is reached, which shuts down the water heater. It's one of the couple different protection devices on an RV water heater, and I wouldn't say it's common for them to pop, but they're not usually a part you can find in the campground store. Once you find your water heater model number, you can match that up to the correct thermal cutoff. A common failure point on RV furnaces is what's called a sail switch. If the fan is not spinning at 75% of its max speed, it will not move enough air to push this sail switch, which will not close the circuit and let the furnace light. Now, there's more to how a furnace works than just a sail switch, but like the thermal cutoff, these are a little harder to find locally. A quick pro tip, something as simple as occasional vacuuming around your furnace will help keep the sail switch free from debris and hair. Moving on, I have a second first aid kit in the RV. Not mind-blowing logic here, I'm sure most people do, but I think it makes sense to keep first aid kits in areas of the RV that you can access with the slide outs closed, and also areas lower to the ground where short people like children can access them. This one's not essential, but definitely a notable tool I keep in the RV, which is a gas detector. These are about 20 bucks, and every so often when the propane cylinder service valves are open, I'll go around to all the gas fittings, places like the water heater, the gas lines on the back of a fridge with a propane power source, the propane pigtails, and even the quick connect under the RV. Gas detectors can save you money by sniffing out leaks on the outside of your RV and finding leaks on the inside of the RV that can cause bigger problems. The underbed storage is where I keep the rest of the tools, supplies, and parts we haven't covered yet. Not everything has rechargeable batteries, things like remote controls, TPMS sensors, digital tire pressure gauges, smoke detectors, so I keep a stock of batteries with us at all times. And in this bin is kind of a mix and mash of different things I've discovered over the years to be valuable to have on the road. In no specific order, this is the replacement surge module for the Power Watchdog EMS we use. I keep a tube of Dicor self-leveling lap sealant and GeoCell ProFlex RV non-leveling sealant if we need to reseal something. Of course, neither of these things are helpful without a caulking gun, some extra flex hose, and I'm glad I made this video because I need to restock a few feet of PEX hose. Definitely something that could be useful on the road. Some extra PEX clamps, a PEX crimping tool, spare debris filters you'll find at most wet bays, and some extra water hose gaskets. These tiny rubber gaskets are to seal the cap on my TPMS sensors, and half-inch NPT nylon plugs. I could probably remove the NPT plugs because they really don't have a purpose in this RV, but half-inch NPT plugs are used as the drain plug for Atwood Dometic water heaters. If you don't have valves on your low point drains, you most likely have half-inch NPT plugs, and these are good to have if one of those plugs starts to leak while you're camped. Okay, toothpicks. These can be used if you have a stripped screw hole. You'll put these in the stripped hole, it'll make the hole smaller and give the screw something new to bite against. You can also use zip ties for larger strip screw holes, and I keep an additional stash of these in here too. In case things outside grow legs, I have one additional quick link, a coupler lock, and a hitch pin, some extra plumbing fittings, cable crimps, some scrap Eternabond, and a roller if a branch tears my roof membrane, the tool for the bug screen I have on my furnace, an extra check valve that came with the stainless steel wet bay fitting I recently installed, and this is where I keep my owner's manuals, all of them, not just the RV owner's manual, but all the appliance manuals and any other owner's manuals for aftermarket equipment I install go in here as well, so all my reference material is in one place. And any information stickers I remove from the inside or outside get placed inside the owner's manual. This next one is a tool that I think everyone should have in their RV. This is an 11-in-1 screw and nut driver by Klein Tools. You have a number 1 and number 2 Phillips head, a 1/4 inch and 3/16 inch flathead, a T10 and T15 Torx, and a number 1 and number 2 Robertson bit that you're going to find on a lot of RV interiors. You also get a 3/8 inch, 5/16 inch, and 1/4 inch nut drivers. I'll put a link to this super convenient tool down below in the video description, along with all the other products mentioned in this video. Two things I think are important to mention here. First, this setup is going to look different to everyone. I told you earlier I keep a lot of the tools in the truck because we always have our truck, even when we don't have the trailer. Another reason I keep a lot of these tools in the truck is because our truck payload capacity is over 4,400 pounds. Even with the trailer tongue weight, a full tank, all the tools, 100 pounds of electric bikes, the two of us, and a 9-pound Yorkie, we're never close to maxing out our payload. Because of that payload capacity, it makes sense for us to put things in the truck, and it also keeps the trailer weight down. A heavier truck and a lighter trailer just makes for a better towing experience. The truck situation for us may not be the same situation for you. Other differences and considerations are all the different potential systems you may have. There could be tools and spare parts for generators, washer dryers. None of those things we have, but you may, so consider those things in your planning. There's also a lot of factors outside of your equipment to consider as well. The list changes drastically from a weekend warrior to a full-timer. I know some full-timers who keep extra leaf springs, a backup water pump, a spare set of propane pigtails. How far do you travel from home? Are you mechanically inclined, or would you just prefer to call a mobile tech or a tow truck? It pays to do some research on your RV, know what commonly fails, back those parts up, stock enough tools to be dangerous, and enough supplies to keep everything maintained. Then build an inventory that you not only have enough room for, but you're also comfortable using. As much as I like to be prepared, I think there's this happy medium between having some of the important stuff you need and not getting stressed out about all the different things you could potentially need on the road. And I hope a few of you will get down in the comments and list some items that aren't covered in this video. If you learned something today, we hope you consider subscribing, hit the like button, share with your friends. All of those things help the channel grow so we can continue making videos for you.